been seeing everybody's own. There is a mail to I will share my screen and show you, but this your link, they should be mailed to there. And also I need you to put this, and this is not even what I asked you to do. Can I see it on your browser? Can I see it on your browser? Just pull me. It's not your link is not even going to show because you are using blue. Just to book me. Okay. 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 All right. Since you made the writing black, I guess it works that way. All right. Nice. All right. You can stop sharing. Thank you. Ire, what's your question?
How do you make the bracket? Is it the front bracket or the left bracket?
We use both.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. So let's go into what we'll have for today. So the first thing I want to teach today is navigation. Let me share my screen because you're going to need it. Yeah. So we're going to do navigation bar. What is a navigation bar? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So you see this right here, it's a navigation bar. This is what they call a navigation bar. I'm pretty sure you see it in other websites. So there is always, almost all websites have a navigation bar. I think this is, yeah. Okay, these are all navigation bars. What you should know that they are all links. These are links that are just arranged in a horizontal manner. That's what they are. They are links. So we're going to see how to do that now. All right. So having easy to use navigation bar is important for any website because most websites, for instance, if you have a 5-page website, you have to put something. It's easier to link all the websites to your navigation bar, right? So that people can easily find those pages. So navigation bar is just a list of links, like I said. So let's try it here. Let's see it here. So when we are writing, okay, as you can see, the link appears after the body, right? So when we are writing links, this is how we write links, right? I told you navigation is a list of links. So you know how to write links. You use your A element, your href, and this will probably be a website or your email or whatever. But because we're using this doesn't lead anywhere, we're just doing a dummy link. We use the pound sign. Let me just do it like this. So we just use the pound sign. But in your project, when you're doing your project, it will be linked to your, for instance, we created an about.com and about.html page. So if you wanted to put this in your if you wanted to create your navigation, this would be about.html. That will lead to your about page. But we're not leading anywhere now. We just want to see how to create a navigation oh sorry how to create navigation bar. Yes, a navigation bar. So, like I said, it's a list of links. You already know that UL is used to write on other links. That is links that would give you bullet points like this. So this is your first step to creating something like that, to creating something like this. To creating something like this, your first step is to list your links like this. So you use your UL and then your LI, you open your LI bracket, you put your link, and then you close your LI. All right. So you do that for as many pages that you want to put on your navigation bar. Here we're only putting 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yours could be 12, yours could be 13. Like, I mean, this is a lot of sorry. This is a lot of navigation links. This they literally have a lot of navigation links here. It's a lot. So it depends on so here we're only using 4. Is this clear? Do you understand this before we move to the next one? Does everybody understand how this
Yes.
works? Okay. Does everybody? I think it's only Elhun that answered me.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So after you have done, all right, sir. After you have done this, the next thing will be to remove the bullets and the margins and the padding from the list. In the sense that there is, you can see this bullet here. You have to remove it. Now there's the whole of this line is a margin. Like you can see this empty line like this. There are margins and the entire list has margins and paddings that you cannot see. That's how it becomes a list. You can't see. So you have to remove it, even if the fact that you cannot see it doesn't mean it's not there, but it's there. So you have to remove it first of all so that it becomes like this. And how do you remove it? You go to your style sheet. The list type is bullets, but now you want to make it, you don't even want it to have bullet or numbers. There are two ways to write a list. You can use the unordered list, which is what they are doing here, or the ordered list. If this was ordered list, it will be in numbers. You get it will be in numbers, right? See, 1, 2, 3. So we want to remove all the um bullets, all the bullets points and everything. We just want to make it like a list with no bullet point or no. So the list type here will be none because we are removing it from bulleted to none. So you write none. You also remove the padding and the margin, and then it becomes like this. Okay. So this is your second step. Do we understand? It is important to know that you have to remove the list type because if you don't remove, let me leave the margin and the padding first. Let me see how it is. So you see, there is a margin here, there is a margin here, and there is a padding somewhere in between. So we have to remove it. So now let's remove it. And it just becomes like a normal list, right? Then after that, what you do is, sorry. So this basically is already, hold on. So in like before we started having sophisticated and really nice navigation bar. In the past, navigation bars used to be like this. I don't think anybody was using Facebook as of 2009. I don't think anybody was born in 2009. But as of 2009, Facebook had navigation bar that was just like this. But now we now have really fancy ones that we can use. So let's talk about the vertical navigation bar. This is what the vertical navigation bar looks like. It is from top to bottom. A horizontal navigation bar will look like this from side to side. All right. So let's talk about the vertical one and how you can make it like that. Okay. Is it because oh, sorry, I'm trying to expand. Let me try this on VS Code. So I don't know why it's not showing there. Yeah. So I want to do it on VS Code because this is not showing. Okay. Yeah.
Miss Tohan, I can't hear you.
I know I'm coming. I'm trying to I'm trying to find the perfect way to present it so that I won't confuse you.
Oh, my internet is very laggy.
I'm
Just
sorry, my dear.
load
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Ire. Okay. Sorry about your internet, Ire.
Okay.
So I'm trying to set this up. Just hold on. Okay. Okay, it's the padding that makes it different. All right, let's just continue. I didn't know that there were more things down. I was just overstressing myself. So this is how you create a navigation bar that is vertical. Don't worry, I'm still going to make it extend like this one, but this is basically how you create the one that is vertical. So what did we do? After we had already done our UL and kept our links, we removed the padding. We removed the bullet point. This was how we removed it, and we also removed the padding. What's this for? Let me remove it. Okay. So we removed the padding. Now, this is a vertical navigation band. This is how we look. But if you don't want it to be as long as this, then you can set a width. If you don't want it to be as long as that, you cannot set a width to, I think it was 60 px that is there before. 60 px. Right? And so it will become short. But I actually like it really long. I like how it's long like that. So I'm going to leave it like that. All right. So you see our navigation bar is coming. And if you see, I'm trying to make it like this. This is gray. And the top is green. Okay. Hopefully this should work. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, that's not important. Now let's leave it. But as I was saying, do you guys know how we got here?
Yes.
All right, let me explain it again. So remember when I first, where's the beginning? Okay, so this was how we did it at first, where we said we kept it's a list of links. You keep your link in a list like this, right?
Yes.
Yes, you keep your link in a list like this. Then after that, the next step is to remove this bullet points here, and also remove the padding and the margin that is around it, because you can see a space here. So that lets me know that there is a margin and there is also some sort of default padding. So you go and remove, you select your list elements, and you tell the browser that, okay, I want to remove the bullet points. I don't want it to be bullet anymore. It's none. If I The default setting is bullet, but this removes it. If I write bullet here, it will become bullet again. Let me see if that will work, if I'm not mistaken. It has tiny bullets, but we're going to remove it. We don't want, I don't know if you can see the tiny bullets, but it has tiny bullet points there. But originally, the default setting of a list has, bigger bullet points. So obviously, there are some settings that are already predefined in the list. Once you use a UL, they're already predefined settings, like the bullet points will be bigger, there will be margin, there will be padding, but you don't see all that. Like, you don't need to put it there. They already appear there automatically. So you have to start removing them one by one so that you can get your list, which is what we did here. Went to our CSS file, and we selected the list, and we removed the list type. We also removed padding and the margin, and so it becomes like this. Let me remove this none. And so it just becomes like a normal list like this. Then after that, what you want to do next is to add the background color to the link area, so that, this one doesn't show well. This one was a mistake. So what you want to do is that you want to add a background color to your link area. So you want to add a background color here, and that is what we did. So we selected LI. You can see we selected the two elements because these elements are inside LI and the A. If we select only LI, let's see whether it will work. It still works. If you select only A, it still works. No, but they chose the actual selectors, because sometimes the browser can be funny. But if you choose one or the other, it would still work. And you can choose both, and both work. So we can decide that we want to make this color. This is a gray color. We can decide we want to make it green, right? And it becomes green. Okay. We can decide we want to make it red. It becomes red. But I think we should make it gray. Let's go back to the gray color. Sorry. I don't like this color, sorry. Let me return to the former color. What's that color?
Sorry, I left the meeting because my internet wasn't stable.
You said, what did you say?
I left the meeting because my internet wasn't stable. So
all right, no problem.
I don't know what you said.
No problem. I'm saying it again. Don't worry. Just pay attention. And do you remember it? The color.
Yeah, I remember it.
What's the color?
It was hashtag DDD.
Okay. Found it. Hashtag has how many Ds? 1, 2, 3,
6.
6 Ds. Okay, that's a lot. One, two, three, one, two. And later in the week, we'll learn about these colors and how you can use different numbers and names. We'll learn about that. So you add a background color to whatever you want it to be. Okay, so this is it. You also let the browser know that you want to display block. I told you the difference. I told you guys the difference between block and inline display. So you just let the browser know, okay, you want to display this block, and then you want the background color to be like, so it becomes like this. So you cannot add extra features to it after you have removed the list style and the padding and the margin, and you're also giving it the background color. You've displayed the block. You cannot decide that, okay, when I hover around it, when I hover my mouse around it, I want it to become a different color. And how do you do that? Simple. Okay, so you can say li. Let me just use the format that they used here. And like I said, even if you only pick one of the elements, it would still work, but it's better to pick both of them sometimes. So all I did to get it to hover around, I just told the browser that, okay, I want li. You can see my colon. I want that when I hover around it, that's why this hover is there, because you're letting it know that, okay, I want something different to happen when I hover around it. I want the background to be black and I want the text to be white. So let me just show you what that means. So now you can see when I hover, the background is black and the text there is white. When I leave there, it goes back to its normal styling. But every time I hover around it, this is what I want it to be like. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do we
Yes.
understand?
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, hold on. Okay. So I think you can actually make this bigger. Like I said, let me see if that is possible. I want to try something. This is how you spell height? I don't think so. I can't remember how to spell height.
This is how to spell height.
Okay, thank you. Just to be sure. Let me see. Oh, okay. That would not work. Okay. Okay, so but basically this is how to build a vertical website. We're still going. Let us keep going. Okay, I think it's the same thing that they did here. It's the same thing that they did here. They changed the list type to none. They removed the padding and the margin. They made this 200 pixels. Like I said, if you want to make it longer, if you want to make it the entire length, you just have to remove the width. All right. Just have to remove it here. If you run it, you see it's now stretched. But you can also give it whatever size that you want. And here they made it 200 px, so it's shorter. You can decide, depends on what you want on your site. They also okay, so if you check back to this particular one, you can see, no, this is not it. This one I did here. You can see that the links here are still underlined. The links are still underlined. You can remove it. And how do you remove that? You just say, I taught you this yesterday, text decoration none. That will remove that line you're seeing under. Because you can see it looks better here. I don't like it if it's short. So let me make it long. I really don't like short navigation bars. So you can see this is way better than if it's like this, if it has the line. Where's the one with the line? Okay, I've cancelled it. All right. So this is much better if it doesn't have a line. And they also, what did they also do here? They added padding. Let me see what this padding does. Because we removed padding from the beginning. Okay, to add space. So ours was a little bit, it was a little bit together. But if you want to give it space, which is what I was trying to do with the height, I forgot that it was padding. Yeah, so padding will give it. If you use a padding, you should put a padding. The top is 8px, the side is here is 16px. Let's change that and let's see something. So let us change the padding to, let's say, 20. This might not look good, but I just want to show you guys how it is. And 40. So you see, I gave the top padding 40. I gave the side, I gave the top padding 20. That's why on top here, there's no so much space compared to the sides where this is 40. All right. So what's the original one that was there? What's the
8
original?
and 16.
8 and 16. All right. Ehun, you really have a strong memory. 8.
It's
and-
EX.
Oh, EX, sorry. So that will help you create whatever space that you want to. I think I actually like a bigger one, but this is a personal preference. So when you're making your project, you can decide, okay, I want this to have more space, or I don't want it to have space. So let me leave my 2040. I think I like that. Maybe because I use glasses, I like things to be big on the screen. Okay, so yeah, it becomes like this. And you can see what they change the link. I already taught you how to do this hover. So this is the color that they chose. They chose the background color to be 555, which is another. I actually like this color. Okay, so do we all understand this? Do we all understand that navigation bars are just a list of links that you just have to design?
Yes.
Do you understand that? Any questions?
Yeah, no.
No questions. All right,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yes, I have a question.
What's your question, my dear?
My question is about the bug of 55.
About
Can
the
you
what?
make it about the background color 55?
Yeah.
Can you make it in the ABCD?
No, you can't make it ABCD. Like I said, tomorrow we are going to learn about text colors and all of that. Because your project is coming on, I want you guys to learn some really important things. Like this was supposed to be a Friday lesson, but I want you guys to get familiar with it. And everyone already said he has started building his project. So you guys can start building your header and your navigation bars from this. But don't worry, we'll talk about colors tomorrow.
What is our project?
The websites that you sent, my dear.
To make a
So
website.
you know what? We'll have time to talk about the text color. After vertical bar, I show you horizontal, then we'll go on the break and we'll come back and talk about text colors. So we have time. So this is how you create a vertical one. Do we understand that now?
Yes.
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 Do we understand that? So what I will do is that today, I showed you guys how to do a header yesterday. So what I will do today, after teaching you navigation bars, I will now show you how to create let me go to that place. Okay, I think it's EX. You can see in Elwin, this is your website. As you can see, they just went directly to the navigation bar. This is a horizontal what am I saying? This is also a vertical, sorry, I'm confused. Okay, this is a vertical bar. This is a horizontal. So this one here is horizontal, which I'm going to teach you now. In your own case, they just went straight to the horizontal bar. They did not use a header. But this EX own, there's a header there first. You can see what is in the header. The I am logo is in the header. They also have some write up here, and they have this. So tomorrow I'll teach you how to do this search option and how to put your logo on top in your header, and then you now do your navigation. So tomorrow we're going to learn that. But for now, let's continue with. We already know everything about the navigation bar. So now let's go to active or current navigation link. If you check this here, you can see that right here is green. All right, right here is green, and the rest are. So that's what we want to do now. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think we've done this. Yep. So active or so basically it is the same. Like I said, I like making this thing very long. So I'm going to remove the width that is here and then run it. I'm also going to give it a bigger space. You know what? Let me just use the one I was using. Let me just give the bigger space. 20, 40.
And what? Ma,
Okay, so
what we were doing before, was it vertical or doing?
yes, it was vertical now. See it here now. It was vertical.
Okay.
See it. It was still vertical. We are still on vertical. But the only difference is that we want to create an active class with a big background color and add it here. Do you get what I'm saying? Hold on. So an active background link just basically means that, okay, if I click on the home page and I go to the home page, the link on the home page should remain green like this. That's the point. It should remain green like this. Okay. So how do we do that? We do it with a class called active. You know, we've done hover. There is hover and now is now active. This is not hovering. Okay. So for active, what you just do is that I think this is the color. You give it a background color. You say LIA, the normal selectors we've been using, and then you put the class active. And then you say, okay, so when I'm in an active link, I want the background color to be so. And so this color right here represents green. They didn't just write green, but let me write green. Let me copy this first so I don't forget. Just to show you that this is green. So let's say we say green here. See, it's a different type of green. All right. You can say you want it to be red. And it remains red. So, but let's leave the color that it kept there. Okay. So now this is the green that they kept there. So if I go to the news, because we don't have links they are not leading anywhere. They are called dummy links. We might not be able to understand it. But since if I move to the news and I click on it and it goes to the news page, it will also become, active as well. So we use active to do that. You just say, okay, whenever I'm on an active link, I want the background color to be this color. I also want the write up to be this color because you can see it's white. The rest here are black, but you made this white. So if the active link is here will become white as well. So yeah, that's it. And then don't forget your hover. So because you have kept an active class here, if you want to put a hover, just like we put the hover option here, like we didn't put any hover active class in this CSS. So that's why we just used hover and we're fine. But when you have added an active class like this, when you're writing the hover, it becomes different. You have to let the browser know that only when you hover around it, not when it's active, only when it's hover. So you just say, it's just the way you would normally write your hover, and you put this here. You can see it. This is a colon. This is not. You open a bracket and you also put the class of active. So it's like a standard rule. I can't explain why it is like this, but it's a standard rule. Just like you have a rule in school. When they are singing the national anthem, you stand up. Exactly. So it's like a rule. And that's why we do it like that. And so after you have written the rule, you now let it know that you want it to be this, because this color right here is this gray you are seeing. Let me change it to something else. Let's make it, oh God, I didn't want to delete that. I think that was the pound sign or the hash sign 555, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yes. So I'll remember that. Let's make it green. Let's make it yellow. Very terrible choice of color, but yeah. So that means when I come here, it becomes yellow. I say I want this to be yellow and here should be black. When you hover around it, it becomes yellow and black. Why is it not changing to black?
You press run.
I didn't press. Oh, really?
Run.
Okay, now it's changing to black. Okay, so but the initial color there was this, which I think is a better color. Oh, sorry. And I think this was white. So do we understand this? Let me
Yes.
paste this. Let me paste this in the chat box so that you understand this rule so that you don't forget it. Let me just give you guys in the chat box because it's kind of like a rule.
Ma,
Yes.
I'm now for the break. When
No,
you
not yet.
finish
We're about
pasting
to
it in the
do.
chat box.
We're about to go on a break now. So, but if do you guys understand this, and let's move to the horizontal, vertical, navigation bar.
Yes, I will.
This type of navigation bar. You guys understand this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about, as you can see, since we've been doing this, all the text has been aligned to the right, to the left here. So what if you want to make the text in the center? What if you want this home to be in the center? How do you do that? So, and you can also, apparently you can create borders. Let's see. Because I don't think there were borders here. See, there's no border here. Look at this. There's no straight line. It's almost invincible. But here, you can see the lines. The lines are clearly visible. Although I really don't like links looking like this. Let me make it longer. Because like I said, I just like longer navigation bars. All right. So if we want to make it text center and then we want to add this borders and all of that, very easy. We already know how we did this. So the different thing that you add here, since we've removed the list style, the margin, the background color, you just add a border next in your UL. You add a border. That is and we all know 1px solid, and we give it a border color, which is what they did here. If you remove this, it will just become like what we're doing before. So this is what gives it a border. This is what gives it that line. See? Oh, they say border, right? Where's the border? Okay, border bottom. That's why. So there's another property there called border bottom, and that's why it's doing like this. All right, so let's add the border back. See, so it gives you the border back. So you add that in your UL. So we already know how to do this to get your color, your padding, and your text decoration on. We already know that. So now you pick your LI, your list, what's it called? Your list elements, okay? Because at the end of the day, whatever text you are writing, as you can see, whatever text you're writing, you are writing it inside. I mean, the link is inside the LI. By the end of the day, it's written in a list form. So you pick the list element. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Because this write-up is actually in the list. You can see it is what is showing up there. So you pick the list option and you say, okay, I want my list to be text aligned centered because it has been left all this while. If you want it to your right, you can say, oh, I want this text aligned to be right. All right. See, so it becomes right, but now you want it to be in the center. Okay. Do we understand? Do we understand?
Yes. Yes.
So I feel like the rest are a bit too complicated to start disturbing you guys with. What's the last child?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, let me, if I remove this, what happens? I don't see the difference.
Maybe you should check it on the other thing. On the
On
news.
VS Code.
Yes.
On VS Code. Okay, I will check it, don't worry. And then you guys will take a screenshot so that you can use it to remember. Don't worry. So aside from, I think you can ignore this. It's really not needed. I think if you have this, you're fine. Let me just remove it. Yeah, basically the same. So the problem is that this bottom is a little bit, thick, and they didn't want it like that, so they just removed it, and that's why it's the last child. They call this the last child, and they removed the bottom. But I think it becomes double, so single. But don't worry yourself about that. Just leave that. It's too much. Let's even try to get these ones that we have already done. So we already know about this active link, and we already know about this already. So do we now know how to make it text-centered and, add borders to it if you want? If you don't want borders, you can always remove the border. If you don't want borders, just remove it, and then it just becomes normal. Okay, Carol. I don't know why they put, but it's several. This is why under was double. I don't know why they put all these several things. They just want to confuse us. So if you don't want borders, there are chances that you won't have borders. You just remove. I mean, all the sites I have seen, I don't see borders. They literally don't even use borders. So yeah, so let's just leave it like that. So, but we understand to make it text align center, just choose your li element and put text center align. I mean text align centered. So do we understand that? Don't worry, I'll give you guys this code as a reference point. I'll give it to everybody as a reference point. So do we all understand?
Yes.
I know it's easy to forget.
Are we on break now?
No, we're not on break.
I'm hungry.
So just hold on, we're not on break. So there's something called full height fixed vertical navigation bar. It's kind of like, let's go and say it is. I think it's a sticky bar where it just sticks to one. Hold on. So this is a vertical navigation bar here, and as you're scrolling down, it remains there. You can see it remains, not like you're scrolling down. Sometimes if you're scrolling down, it will also be scrolling, to just be left up, but it is in one place. Okay, so let's see how they did that. So we already know how to do the list style type is known. You remove the margin and the padding, you give it a width. So yeah, it has to have a width because of course you can see it is short. There's something on the side. So it has to have a width. All right. So the background color, okay, so this is what keeps it, after I've given the background color, this is what keeps it in position. This is what keeps it in one place. The position is fixed. That's it. Look at it here, it's fixed. If I remove this position, let me remove this, and I run it, right? By the time I'm scrolling, you can see, you won't see the navigation bar again. you will not see the navigation
Ma,
bar.
you
Yes.
didn't copy it.
I didn't what?
You didn't copy it.
I copied it now. Well, I know it, so I can write it again. Don't worry. So to make sure that it's
My connection went off for a long time.
my God. That's Oreoluwa, right?
Yes, ma.
Inoluwa, were you Inoluwa? Did your connection go off?
No.
All right. So for the sake of time, Inoluwa will be the one to explain to you. But don't worry, just keep following. As you are saying it, as I'm explaining it, you will still understand. Don't worry. But should when I give you an assignment, if Inoluwa cannot explain it to you, tomorrow when you come to class, I'll explain it to you. So now let me put, like I said, since we remove the positioning, because you even remove the positioning, it's going to leave a space here to, in case maybe the browser is expecting you to, expand this towards the end. Maybe you want to add a width, and that's why you didn't give it a specific. The browser will just try to guess what you want. So it gave you a space here. But once you are scrolling, you won't see it again. So to fix that, if you want it to be in one position as you are scrolling, you put it fixed. Okay. All right. So now that it's fixed, the browser knows that, okay, it's going to be in this place. There is no need to put any other space to get. So now when you're scrolling, you are seeing it because it is fixed. Is that clear? Do we understand that? Okay. So I see.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So this height 100%. Let me see. Let me remove it so we know what it does. Okay, so that's the height of the navigation bar. So the width is how long it is. The height is the width is how, from side to side, how wide it is from left to right. While the height is how long it is from bottom to top. So in this case, we want it 100%. Let's assume that we wanted it to be, so we wanted it to be 50%. It's going to be shorter. It's going to be shorter. See, it's going to be shorter. But 100% means that you want it everywhere. So most times you probably use 100%. Because it's just because leaving it like this to be short is not as nice as when you make it 100%. You see, this is final. Are we understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to see what this overflow does.
Yeah.
Okay. Evan, do you know what the overflow element does? Can't remember it.
The overflow property specifies whether to clip the content or to add scroll bars when the content of an element is too big to fit in a specific area.
Okay, let's see what you're trying to say overflow property is here. All right. So this okay, so they're saying that this is too big to fit into a okay. Oh, okay. This is the scroll bar. This is what overflow would do. When you use overflow, this is it, right? Because the content is too, you can see it's a lot. See the entire content. But look at the write-up. They put it in a really small container. Because I don't know why they put it in a small container. You can see they put it in a small container. They gave it a background, gave it a color, gave it a padding. They gave it a border, so it's in a small container, so it's too long. So for you to read it, the browser will not put something for you to scroll. Let's go back to our own. So let me remove the overflow. I mean, it's still here because this is a default browser. But if you're doing it on, and they just do it for the sake of people who are using maybe a small screen. This is a laptop, right? It's a bigger screen, so the text might be able. We didn't put this right up in a box. We didn't create a border around this, so it has enough space. Do you understand? But it is just generally advisable to use it. In case somebody is opening their website on their phones. All right. And if you are using it in VS Code, please put an overflow there. Overflow auto. Instead of using scroll, just use auto, because, hold on. See, there is scroll, there is hidden, there is visible. Okay, so let me change it. Let's see the difference. Let's try visible. Let's see what it does.
They annotate.
What did you say?
My own is using annotate.
Annotate. Oh, okay. So if you use visible, only the first part will be visible. Only the first part will be visible, right? If you use scroll, we already know what scroll will do. Okay, so if you use scroll, a scroll bar will be added to the side. If you use hidden, the rest of the content will not be visible. If you use visible, the content renders outside the box. So let me try that. It won't look nice. It will look visible here. Okay. So the best thing to use is auto, because auto just choose what is best for whoever is accessing your website at that time. Meaning that if it's somebody that is using a small screen, a scroll bar will appear. If it's somebody that is using a large screen, the browser will decide, okay, this person is using a large screen, no need to put the scroll bar option. So it's better to use the auto property when you're using overflow in cases like that. But I think this is a little bit advanced, so you might decide not to use it, or you can just keep it all together. You can just decide not to. It's a bit advanced. You can just decide not to. So that's your personal preference. But the rest of them are actually needed. The removing the bullet points with none, removing the padding and the margin, giving it a width, because right now there are content at the side. You're setting the background color, this particular gray background color. You make sure the position is fixed so that when you're scrolling, except you don't want it like that, when you're scrolling, it stays there. If you don't want it fixed, you can always remove this, and then when you're scrolling, you leave it behind. But most times it's always fixed. No, sorry. Position. If you want to remove, you can always remove the, what's it called? This is a margin around here. You can always remove it if you don't want it fixed. So the rest is pretty much the same, the display, the block and everything. So the rest is pretty much the same that we've been talking about. The only difference here is that they kept the position. All right. So like I already said it here, that this example might not work on mobile devices, because mobile devices are, what's the word? They are small screen. They have a small screen.
Mom.
So let's take a little break. We're taking a break now so that you can rest.
Your computer is low.
Yes, I know. I can see. I'm about to charge it now. All right, so let's take a little break so we can calm our brains, and then we'll come back for horizontal navigation bar. Meanwhile, I'm going to copy this and put it in your chat box.
Ma, can you stop viewing
30
your
minutes.
screen, please?
What did you say?
Can you please stop viewing your screen?
Can I stop?
Viewing your screen.
Why?
It's blocking me.
How is it blocking you? Okay, I'm going to stop now. We're going for a break. I think it's 10 o'clock now. I have to check my phone because the one on my laptop is wrong. Please, somebody
It's
check the
10
time.
o'clock.
10:26. 10:26.
10:26. Okay. So we'll come back at 10. I want to give 10 minutes. That would be 10:36. Okay. But let me quickly explain why this margin is here in the body. The entire of your website is your body. So if you put a margin there, if you don't put a margin there, there'll be space around it. You can see there's a space around. But if I remove the margin and I say I want the margin to be 0, that space automatically goes away. You can see. But if I remove the margin, see there's a space. So it depends on you. This is a personal preference. If you want to put a margin there, fine. If you don't want to, that's up to you. So while we're going on break, I'm going to put this in your, oh my God. I'm going to put this in the chat box so you guys can copy it and use it as a reference. So you can go on break. I'll see you guys at 10:30.
When are we coming?
10:36.
Okay.
Ma,
Yes.
during break, please, can you please show me how to use image as a link?
As a what?
Link.
All right, don't worry. Just go for your break. I'll show you.
Okay.
Go for your break. I'm just going to copy these styles for you so that you remember it. But it's not what I'm going to give you.
Excuse me, ma. What is our assignment?
I've not thought about it yet. After I finish teaching you, then that will decide what assignments I'll give you. When I'm done teaching, I'll tell you assignments. Let me stop sharing. So when you come back, Please, guys, give me 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, a longer break.
Yeah, just take a longer break, 5 minutes. I'll be back because I have to fix this connection problem. It will be disturbing us in class.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so is everybody back? Please, we are back. Raise your hand.
Ma,
Yes.
give us extra 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes are not up yet.
What did you say?
Give us extra 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes are not up yet.
But since you are here, we can go ahead. Okay, so EX is in class, Inolua is in class, Ehun is in class, Bokumi is in class. Inolua, Aura is there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking for Bokumi and Ire. Bokumi, are you there? Oh,
I'm
my
here.
screen. All right, thank you. So everybody's in class. So let me share my screen again. All right, thank you. You can drop your hand. You can lower your hand. All right, let me quickly show how to make an image and link. Making an image and link. Oh, that's not sorry. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
This is for you. So you can see you start with your A element already. You put your normal href where you want the link to go to. I mean, where you want to, when you click on the link, when you click on the picture, where do you want it to go to? So you put that address after your href, and then you open another bracket, and then you put your image. You can see it's just putting your image, the source of your image, your alt text, and then you close it. You can decide to put the style, or you can decide to style it in your external css, but this is it, and then you close the back. Let me try it on what's it called? Let me try this on VS Code so you will see it. Some kind of VS Code so you see. All right. I'm going to put it just okay, let's use this particular link here. Hold on. All right. So we want to, this is already a link right here. So I'm just going to open this image, whatever. So basically, and when you have your link already set up like this, to put an image there, you just need to open an image element, put your href. Sorry. Oh, image is source. Sorry. Okay. Image is source, and we're going to take yeah. So we're going to take from one of our images here, which is image. Well, this is image. Images slash. I'm going to use. Let me use the sun as the image. Oh, sorry. Let me use the sun. Let me use this sun right here as the image, right? And what's the next thing? So I'm sure I'm getting this right. So after you put your image, I'm not going to put alt text. Let me use this style. Originally, you should put an alt text, but because we're in a hurry, this is not what we have for today. I just want to quickly show you. Copy it. So you put a style, put your alt text. Let me just put it there. The sun. Then you put your style to reduce the size of the image. So I want the width to be 42. I want the height to be 42. And then I think that's where you close it, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you just close it. Close it. And then, so at this point, you won't need to have a text because it won't make sense. Normally, they're supposed to click on the text, but now they can click on the image. So you can remove the text. I mean, you can add the text to see how it will look, but I doubt if it will look nice. So you add that, and now let's go to the browser to see how it looks like. All right. So this is okay. We kept this style around the link. Just have to remove. Remember that when we're designing it. Sorry, hold on. Remember that when we were designing, we kept a border around it. That's why this is here. If I remove that border now, so that you don't get confused. Oh, what's his name? You're making me go where I don't want to go. Where's the background? Where's the button? Oh yeah. So let me remove. If I remove this branding there, let me just cut it. Let me just cut it, right, and save it. So if you go back to the browser, you will see that it's only the image that is there. Oh, I can't remove it though. Wait. Apparently, I can't remove it though. It has to be there. So I think what we just remove is the background color and the border radius. Since we don't need that, we can also. Oh, I'm so sorry. We just need to remove the. Sorry. All I have to do is go and remove it here. I don't know why I was stressing. I just have to remove it here, exactly. I don't need that class. I don't need that thing to be there. Aha, so the image was showing just now. I don't know why it's not showing anymore. Oh,
Let's save it.
I'm back.
I didn't save it. Wow. This should work. If this doesn't work, I will know that yes, something is wrong. Okay, Ehun, you know what? I mean, if you click on this now, you know what? Give me to tomorrow to figure it out. I don't know what I'm getting wrong. I'm not even in the right
I
frame of
just
mind.
did it and it's working for me.
It's working for you. So what's not happening to me?
I don't know.
Well, it's working for you, right?
Yes.
All right. So that's the problem with my own VS Code. So at least it's working for you. That's the most important thing. So maybe it's a problem with my own VS Code. All right. So let's go to horizontal. Who is that? Let us go to horizontal navigation bar. Horizontal navigation. Horizontal navigation bar. So this is what a horizontal own looks like. You know, the only let me close all this. I think I have kept the code to.
Mom, back from the break.
Okay, welcome. We're just starting. All right. So I said we're just starting. So if you look at most sites, they use a horizontal own and they didn't put borders or anything or color or anything. So let's just continue. So for a horizontal own, in this case, the display is inline. Remember that okay, so let me leave that open. Hold on. Let me leave this open. So remember in this one, the display was block. You're writing this block so that it can come like this, one after the other. But in vertical, when you're writing the horizontal on, the display, you will have to list it inline and not block. Although by default, when you're writing an LI element, it's always block and it must come one after the other on top of each other. So by the time you make it inline, it becomes horizontal. Let's see what I mean by that. All right. So you know before here was block. You already know how to list your links like this, right? You already know how to list your links like that. And then you know that you're supposed to go and remove your list type and make it none. You're supposed to remove the margin and the padding. We already know this. Now the difference is that in the former one, this was block. This was block. Okay, so you see, it is vertical. Now to make it horizontal, you have to make this inline. Understood? And that's how you have that plenty ones that you are seeing that there are plenty like that. You just have to put padding and margin here. Or I think it's more margin, but we'll get to there, you know, and you can make it as many. So let's continue. First of all, know that it is inline. All right. So another way of creating a horizontal navigation bar is to float. We use an element called float. We have to float it and specify it. So let's see that. Let's see how that looks like. All right. So here we have already written our links like this. This is our links. We have written it in UI, UL, UI, LI, and all of that. And so we have removed the list type, or removed the padding and the padding. So they added an overflow element here, and they said it's because they want to prevent the UL element from going outside of the list. Let me, I don't know. Hold on, let me see. It might not go out of the, you see? Oh, okay, so this is why they added an overflow. Okay. No, we'll talk about that overflow tomorrow so that you guys don't get confused and you know where to use it. But they said here it is added to the UL to prevent the LI element from going outside the list, because sometimes if care is not taken, you open it in certain browsers and you just see that this link is scattered. So that is why it is kept here. All right. So now in this case, they did not use the what's it called? The inline, what was that word? They didn't use the display option, they used the float. So you can also decide to float this right. You can decide to float it right. And it goes to the right. What I don't know is if you can float it center. So see, there are many elements to learn. Sometimes even I myself, I also go to check Google that, oh, how can I do this? So floating it center, this is how it turns out, and this is not how we want it. So it's better to leave it at float left or float right. Do we understand? Do we understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
after you floated it left, you now also decide that, okay. So the thing is that there are specific elements that you choose. Now, if you want to style something that affects the entire list, you use the UL because it affects the entire list. Now, if you want to display something that just affects what is in the list, you use the LI element. Use the LI element. If you're going to do something that is affecting the link itself, like maybe you want to hover around the link, or you want to put, a padding individually between each link. For instance, you see this float, it has nothing to do with the links itself. Do you understand? So that's why we are using the LI element, because we just want to float the list. But now, when we want to put a padding or we want to put a background color, that is affecting both the list and the link. So you have to include both of them. That's why we have both of them here. Okay, and as you can see, it is going straight like this. If you check, this is Elmo's. If you check it, see, it's almost like that. Aside from this, what's it called? This optional drop down bar that is here, which will come to later. But let me use what's her name? Okay, this doesn't have a drop down bar, but it actually does. They didn't just put it there. So forget about this drop down. We'll talk about that later. But this is definitely how they made this top part you are looking at. That's how they definitely made the top part. They just had to remove the underline. They gave it a lot of space and they just wrote it a lot. They had a lot of links because it's an e-commerce site. So they have a lot of links to write. So if we're going to do that same thing here, we'll just write all our plenty links, and then we'll make the background white instead of the color we're giving it. So we'll make it white. So to remove, you already know how to remove the underline. Just is text decoration. Oh, sorry. Text decoration. So you say no, you don't want any, none. See, and so you remove the underline like that. Okay. Do we understand it?
Yes.
Yes.
We understand it, right? All right, fine. And then, okay. So let's move on. So that's the, oh my God. Please, who is drawing on this thing? You almost gave me a heart attack. I thought my system had broken. Please, can you, in short, please, can you stop drawing? Thank you. I don't know who that is. But please remove it. You are disrupting the class. I think it's Ire. Ire, please remove it, please. Ire, I'm waiting for you. Ire, I'm going to report you to the director at the end of the day. Thank you.
I'm not the one.
So who is the person?
I
Okay. So now let us okay, so you're seeing they're giving us a tip here. They said you should add the background color to the UL element instead of each of the A link elements if you want a full width background. So apparently you can decide that okay, you only want to put background color on the links, but this is just easier. This is the easier way to do it. Let me not confuse you guys. All right. So now let's see how to make a big one like this, like the ones that you have. This is almost like what you have here. Sorry. It's almost like what you have here, but the background is set to white. The background is set to white. So right here is like black. So let's see this. It's pretty much the same as doing a vertical. It's just that in this case, everything is horizontal. It's pretty much the same. So let's go and do that. So I think the only difference is that you have here to be float or maybe display inline rather than this is the difference. This is the major difference. All right. But when you're, I mean, in our, I think I kept that in the chat box. Let me see. I don't know what Jesse Bukumi is doing. Okay, so you can see in, what's it called? When we're doing the horizontal or when we're doing the vertical, when we're giving our text decoration on our pattern in our L1, we kept a display block here. So obviously you still have to use that same method when you're doing vertical, but just make sure you add an extra LI to it that makes it inline. Do we understand that? Because if we're going to, if you remove this, this is what makes it horizontal. This is the only difference from the vertical, sorry. This is the only difference from the vertical. See, now it becomes horizontal. All right, so to make it vertical, make sure that you put that. So every other thing is pretty much the same. And that's in when you're writing horizontal, there is always overflow hidden in your UL. In our vertical, there was no overflow. So two things are different when you're doing vertical. When you're doing vertical, you can see right here, there is nothing like the overflow here is auto. You can also use auto here, to be very honest. Let me see. Let me try. And I've always said it before, when you are coding, is a lot of trial and error. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So if you use auto here, it's still the same thing. If you use hidden, it's still the same thing. Okay, just make sure that you are checking it on your browser to see which one works. So this is pretty much the same thing we have been doing in vertical. The only difference is that there is a float option here. All right, there's a float option here. That's the major difference. And I think even when you want to put an active link, it's the same. It's the same. Let me look for So you see the active link here. There's a background color and there is white. Here, there's a background color. They didn't bother to put a text color because it's already white here. So they didn't bother. I mean, here it wasn't white. I think there was. I can't even find it again. But are we understanding what I'm saying?
Yes.
Are you guys understanding? See, I don't know why they make the background color blacker. When you hover around it, they've kept a background color that is blacker. Let me change this to 555. So when you hover, see it's gray now. They made it blacker before, but now it's gray. So it's pretty much the same thing. I think the major difference is that when it comes to a horizontal line, when it comes to a horizontal, you have to float it. Okay? I already told you how to float it right. You just have to change it to the right. Float it right. There's also borders and dividers. Okay, so let's see how the borders is when we're doing it on. I'm sure you have gone to website that you have seen menus like this. If I go to Roblox, let me see Roblox.
Excuse me, ma, I cannot see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
Yes.
Hold on. Can another person see?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
I can see your screen.
Oh, you can see my. It's only in your look. What that means it's from you. Can you try going out and coming in again?
Ma, I can see your screen. It's my brother that can't see your screen.
I mean, Ore. So, Ore, just go out and come in again. Yeah, so just let Ore go out and come in again. All right. So let's see creating borders around it. So it's pretty much the same. We already know how to do this. We already know. So this is where you add your border. This is where you add your border. So it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same process. You add your border, and then you also add a last child for border. I don't know why they did that. They didn't explain to us. But I would say ignore the borders because, like I said, in most of your website, they don't even use borders. They just put a space. This is me. Hey, God, who is that thing? Who is that person? No.
It's Zini.
So I'm trying to see if you want to make this space bigger. How did I do that time? What's the 20 here? Oh, okay. So make this 0. Okay. This is 14, 16. I'll come back to this 14, 16, 14, 16, 14, 16, 14, 16. Okay. Hmm. So I'm trying to find a way to explain this border to you because I don't think I explained it well so that you guys will understand it. I don't think I explained it well because the border is needed if you're going to add spaces in between. I'm coming. Hold on. Let me see how I can explain this. Okay. So let's talk about how to put borders right. So right here, they're only putting border right. And I don't, let me see if I just use, I don't think when we did it in the vertical, did we use just border right? I didn't even give you guys the border. Okay, we'll check it again. Because this was the only thing I know I didn't touch well. Because I want you guys to understand it. Okay, so this is the border. So when we did a border around the vertical one, there was nothing like bottom right. It was just border bottom. Okay, so when it comes to the vertical, they are more concerned about the border at the bottom. But when it comes to horizontal, they are more concerned about the border on the right because most of the they appear. Let me put the border again. Sorry. Because most of the borders are appearing on the right. You can see this is on the right, this is on the right, this is on the right. Okay, so we don't need to have a border on the left. I mean, if they didn't do it border right, let's just use only border. Let's see how it will look like. It's just making it unnecessarily big. So focus on border right and only do on one side because it's adding border to everything round and that's just making it unusually big. So focusing on border right adds it to the right. But when you are doing it vertically, you are concerned about this bottom here. Let's try it without the border bottom. This is how it adds it everywhere around it. So you see that it's just somehow, and you don't need it everywhere around it. You are really just concerned about the border at the bottom because that's where you're seeing it. You're seeing it more at the bottom. It's just unnecessarily thick here, and we don't want that. So this becomes border bottom. All right, so it just gives it a border at the bottom because I think that without putting borders, let me go to where we can put borders. Yeah, I missed it. All right. So do we understand that when you're doing a vertical navigation bar, you are concerned with bottom border bottom, but when it is a horizontal one, it's going to be border right because it's more at the right. Okay, and why this is needed is because take a look at this EX, both EX, this is EX, and this is L1. You can see they have spaces in between them. So without borders, you cannot give spaces. Let me go to the vertical. Without borders, you cannot give spaces because if I want to add space to this place now, I can come here and say, okay, I want the padding to be, I can add to the padding. Let's say I want this to be 20. I want the side to be 20. All right. And I do it. You see, it's bigger. There's more space. So if I want to do that particular part, that particular menu, and I don't want the borders to show, I can just say I don't want it to show. I use none instead of solid. So you see, it's not showing, and now I can put spaces. I can decide to make this. Let me make it 60. 60 is a bit long, but you can see there is a lot of spaces. There is no line, and all of that, and all of that. Do you get? Let's try it without borders for real. I just want to see if there is no border, what happens? because I feel like it's not necessary. I've never had to use a border. It still works. So, like I've always said, you have to test and retest and try and test to see, okay, will this work or will it not work? There's no one solution to everything. You might want to fix a menu and you have 5 ways of doing it. So just figure out what works for you. Okay? Do you understand?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still on horizontal. So that's all about adding adding a border to it. So it's all about adding a border. Even the active and the navigation link is the same thing. It is the same thing. You just have to put an active, but it's the same thing. We already did all of that, so I'm not going to go into all of that because of time. So I've talked about the borders. Always remember, always, let me put this right here. Let me put it, please, who is that? You are disturbing my class, please mute. Let me put this style in for you guys in the comment section, in the chat section rather.
To mute.
Let me put this in the chat section for you guys. This is for vertical. I mean, this is for horizontal. Horizontal bar. So I would say keep this styling. You're going to need it as reference points. All right. And always remember, when it is horizontal, you are worried about the border right. When it is vertical, you are worried about the border bottom. So border right here, border bottom for vertical. So the fixed navigation bar is the same. Let's go and see it. Okay. The navigation bar here is fixed to the top. If you look, I think it's the same. Okay, in Elhum's website, they didn't fix it to the top. So when you're scrolling, it doesn't show again. Let me see EXO. Okay, they didn't fix it. So that's a personal preference. But you're scrolling, it remains there. And I taught you guys already, it's all about positioning. Where is it? Positioning. It is fixed. It is fixed. All right. So it's the same thing. The difference is that you can decide to fix it on the top or on the bottom. When it comes to horizontal, there is the top positioning. You can see right here is top. They put it at the top. So it's on top. You can also decide to do it on the bottom. Let me show if I decide to do it on the bottom here. Why for vertical? For vertical is more about is on the side. For vertical is on the side. So if I put it on the bottom here, right, and I run it, so this is how it will appear. But this is not a good idea because I feel that this will disturb user experience. It blocks what is on your screen. I go to websites like this and it's always annoying. So I think the best thing to do is to leave it at the top. Okay. Sorry. Leave it at the top. That's better.
Mr. Han,
Yes, love.
I have a question, please.
What's your question?
Must I wait to find my reference website before I start working on my own website?
So what are you going to use to, I mean, if you're going to be creating a website, are you creating it from your head? The essence of the reference website is...
Can I start creating like my header or something?
Yes, you can, if you have an idea of what you want to do.
Okay.
The idea of the reference website is to give you an idea of, okay, this is how I want my website to look. That's the idea. But if you already have an idea on your head, you have a design in your head, you can go ahead and do that. Is that
Okay.
Elmo or EX?
EX.
So you can go ahead and do it
Okay.
if you have a design.
Okay.
So now there is a position called sticky. All right. You know what? That's already too much information. Just stick with position. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I don't want to overwhelm you guys. So the drop down, this particular one that we see on Ehun's, this drop down right here you're seeing. So you see how they write it? It's a drop down. By the time you can replicate this like 3 or 4 times. So how do you do this? I don't think we'll have time to do the text class today because I'm pretty sure you guys are overwhelmed. Okay, so for that you have to use JavaScript. Because I'm saying JavaScript. This is a bit advanced. So we're not going to do this because it's a bit advanced. You can see. Faisal should explain this one to all of you. Will faint. It's a lot. So I think we should just stick to the ones that we know now, right? I think we can stick to the ones that we know now. Because there's JavaScript here. So let's move on. So that's all about navigation bars for today. Any question? Any question?
No.
11, 11, 18. Okay. No question. I'm going to give you guys a 5 minutes break. And then when we come back, I'll try to talk about CSS text they need to. And then I will not give you an assignment that we can go. All right. But first of all, let me copy this styling for you guys. So let's take a break. Let's come back at 11:19. Come back at 11:25. I want to write an assignment. I think this is the best one to give you guys. Oh my God. Okay. All right, guys, are we back? Hello, I'm back. We're back. Right? Okay.
Yes.
So I feel like we have done a whole lot for today. I feel like we have done a whole lot for today. So what will happen is that I'll just give you guys assignments and we can go. That's what will happen. All right. So your assignment is that you're going to do a horizontal, what's it called? A horizontal navigation bar for me, just like this. Oh, okay. Are you guys listening? Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, I'm
Think you're going to
listening.
do a horizontal navigation bar for me like this. You can see it has borders. All right, this is what I want to see. You're also going to make sure that this is green. This active here is green, right? You're going to make your own actively green, and you're going to make the hover color. You're going to make. I'll give you the color. Let me put it in the chat box. Where's the chat? So assignments. Create a navigation horizontal navigation bar with an active link. All right. Make sure make the active link color green and the background color gray. Okay, you make it gray. Also make sure that when you hover, make it color black when you hover around it. Make the background color, make it, okay, this is green, this is gray. Make it black when you hover around it. Okay, so what else do I need it to do? Include a border. Include borders. Borders and margins. Paddings. All right. So make sure that you fix it on top. Do we understand? Do we understand?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
No, not really.
all right, is that you?
No, it's Ini.
In your Lua. Okay, Nilua, hold on. After the class, me and you will talk. Let me let others go. Does every other person understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so to make sure that when you're scrolling it, to make sure that it is fixed at the top, let me give you a long, you have to write something really, really long so that you can scroll. You can use this. This is very long to paste it though, but I'm going to paste it either ways. So you can paste this in your chat so that it can be very long. So you can paste it in your chat so it can be very long. Inyolua. Inyolua. Inyolua.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your assignment. This is what I'm saying. That you should create a navigation link like what you can see on my screen. Make the active link here. One thing I forgot to add. Are you guys there? Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
I
I
did not
can hear you.
I didn't tell you guys to put the active class in the home link. Sorry about that. I forgot. You were supposed to put the active class. You can see here is active. So that when you change the active class, when you style it here, when you style it here, background color, it looks like this, right? But make sure you put it here first. So in Yolua, you're going to list your links in a list style. After listing it, you're going to remove the list style tab, all these things that we've been talking about since. Put the active link here. I told you, all you need to do is just put active and then change the background color, but make sure that the active is in your, what's it called? Is in your HTML, all right? So just look at everything we've done in class today and try to do it. Just do what you can. Then when you come back tomorrow, we'll do a correction. Is that clear, Ini?
Yes.
So do we all understand the assignments?
Yes.
Yes.
All agree.
Ma,
Yes.
if you understand the assignment, should we go?
Yes, you can go.
Okay. Bye, Miss Tohan.
Bye. How you do laugh?
I didn't laugh.
So if you don't have any question and you understand the assignment, you can go.
Ma, can I go now?
Yes, you can do now. Go now. Just do what you can, okay? Because we don't have time.
Okay.
When you come tomorrow, we'll do correction.
Okay. Bye bye, Ma.
All right, there.
Oh, you finished?
Yes. Boy.
So far.
Bye bye, Ma.
Bye,
Bye,
Ore.
Ma.
Bye-bye.